Hello and welcome back to Bill's Workbench. I've got a MN128 video for you today. This is a long and involved one like they all are, but this one is more involved and more longer. It is about adding a brushless motor to the MN128. The motor I picked out, it isn't quite the best motor. It's a little too fast, and we're going to have to take it out and put in either the brushless back or the brush back in it, or find a different brushless motor. But enjoy the video. I hope you learned something. I learned a lot. And we also can install some bearings in the thing. So enjoy. All right, let's get started in taking apart this transmission and engine assembly and removing the radio and the speed control. So we'll get started with probably the radio and the speed control. Well, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Yeah, we'll start it with that. Let's get some wires out of the way. Go. And I need to remove this little dingabobber. There's our electronic speed control, radio, and light controller, all built into one. There's the number on it on the back if you're interested. There's an access portal right here. Oops, wrong way. Look at that. Okay. And regular little baby screws for the motor. Need a screwdriver for that. It's good to see it is greased, so that's a good sign. And there is the motor. Okay, does this come on? It does. That. Okay, so there's the motor. I have a pinion I can remove from there, so let's get that off. I did buy some more pinions because I didn't know if I could remove this or not. Didn't know if the shaft was the right size either. So I have extra pinions. Right, there's that. It has a 14 tooth pinion, if you're interested. Here is the motor I'm going to use. It is a 4500 kV, which is way too much. But that's alright. The radio I'll be able to adjust its speed or the throttle curve on it, which will help. And I have new pinions as well. Let's see what we've got. I think I bought two different ones. I bought a 12 and a 13, so the 12 is probably what we're going to use. This will give it more torque and less top speed. Okay, differences in motor size. That's good to know. It will fit in there. So that is good. Let's see how. So do I want it to go I probably want it to go like this. I want the wires to come out like that. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, is that going to fit? there's enough room. That piece right here, this has little nubbins on it. So it either wants to be in one spot or the other, which may or may not work out to my advantage. Yeah, that's way too much play. Okay, well, you know what? That's okay. I'm gonna try those later. I know how I can make those work. I have to just re-drill this part out so I can get some more space. Closer than what I want it to be. So I am gonna have to make that modification. Gosh darn it. Okay, I thought this one was gonna be easy too. It's not. I just dropped a screw in the transmission, so I have to take it all apart anyway. And when I take this transmission all apart, I am going to put the bearings on. Alright, here is the transmission. I'm going to switch over to gloves, and then we'll get this thing apart. Taking the transmission apart because I need to modify this mounting spot right here. I need to add more room, another hole right here, so I can add more room. And I want to clean up this inside so it's not two holes, so it will slide nicely back and forth. That is the plan. So to do that, I need to get to these screws. That screw is easy to get to, but these two not so much. I have to remove the transmission and the slipper clutch and all of that stuff. So, well, maybe it won't be too bad. Get that screw out of the way first. Bolt, spring. Oh, look at that. There's a bearing in there. Isn't that nice? There's the slipper. There's a bearing behind this piece. No, it's a bushing. Or is it? Yeah, it is a bushing, isn't it? Okay. Put that to the side. I'm not worried about that right now. There's that screw that I dropped in there earlier. I don't think they make a larger spur. That would make it easy. Can we see what's inside the transmission? Sure. Why not? We've gone this far. That looks like a bearing, doesn't it? Nice. That is not a bearing, that's a bushing. And this is just a sleeve. Okay. And it goes against this, like so. And that's the bearing it's in. They gave us some bearings. There. There. This piece. This screw right here has a spot where there's no thread from there to there. From this point to that point. I'm going to put this back in here. That went right into that. Keep this together. That's a bushing. That's a bushing. And that goes on like that. Okay. Alright, I think I have the bearings for this. Let's clean this all up. See if we can get that replaced. Some bearings in there. Alright, I'm going to get this all cleaned up. When we come back, we'll assemble it with bearings and all that other stuff. So there, yeah, that's what we'll do. Alright, quick little check of where I'm at. It's been hours, well, it's been an hour for me, but it's been seconds for you. I went in and cleaned everything off, put new grease in it. I drilled a new hole in here, right in this spot, and then I filed it so that it would work. So let's do a test fit and see if this works the way it's supposed to. Loosen that out. So there we go. That works. Alright, I'm going to dry fit this transmission together so I can figure out how it goes back together. Then I'll undo it and turn this back on so I can show you how to reassemble your transmission. Let's see if we can get this together. I have things in the order they should be in. We have two bearing sizes that we have to worry about. We have the 5x9x3s, which are these little baby small ones. Here and here and here. There's three of them. And then the 7x11x3s. In my truck, those were already installed. So let's get this thing together. Okay, goes in like that. And these little screws go in here. There are a total of 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Save the motor till last. Now this goes in here like this. And then we'll put the slipper clutch assembly together. And that goes through so that it comes out like so. You'll put the spring in there and then lightly tighten up the bolt. Or the nut, rather. Okay, so that's that together. I'm putting this together dry to start, in case I screw up. Okay, so now this goes in. This is going to go down like this. So that spacer goes against the slipper clutch. That's going to go like that. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Alright. screw in there like this. Okay. This gear has this back end to it. This shaft here has a longer end than that end, so this one with the longer end goes against this like this. Okay, and then that goes into here. And then this goes into here like that. What you're going to do is you're going to push the spring, push this up so the spring does its springy thing. And then that goes in like that. There. Okay. Nice. And then this piece will go on top of here like this. And I'll be taking this piece off in a little bit to lubricate it, but I want to get it put together dry first so I know I've got it right. These screws here, they're like wood screws. They're the ones that go in here. Okay. There we go. All we gotta do now is get the motor in there and grease it up and put the rest of the screws in. Well, this piece is gonna go like that with the larger one. We'll get there. Now that we got this together, let's take off this cover here and we shall grease it up. This is Molly grease. I'll put a link to it. It has graphite in it. That's why it's black. Okay. That fills up here. Now we'll get the light oil. I'm using this stuff I got with the trains. Put that in the bearings. Okay. And throw the cover back on. Sure it's still smooth, which it is. Yep. Okay. And we'll put this on. And then this slides up. And we'll get that lubed up. Alright, I went all the way around it. Okay. I'll get the motor in there. And the wires are that way. So I want it like this.
mesh where I think it should be. That is a bit tight. Loosen that up. Oh yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's good. Not much play. Nice and smooth. Tighten these screws up. You could have certainly used the screws that came out of it, but I like these Allen ones better. Close this up. Big hunker one goes in there. Yeah, because that's stripped. Yeah. Alright, M3. Use a cap head screw instead. Is that going to fit in that hole? Not really. Yeah, that's fitting in there. Alright. Perfect. That's better. Yeah, it's got all the screws in. Got the motor in. All that work. All that work, just get the motor in. I can make those holes a little wider. Okay, let's get this back on there. Okay. There we go. Nice. All right, let's get back in the car now. All right, I want this to be opposites, which they are. No, they're not. Yep. Okay. Nice. All right, I have stripped that out. Now I gotta fix that. To fix that, you need Gorilla Glue. I hope I have some. There's the hole that's stripped. So you need Gorilla Glue and a night. You put the Gorilla Glue in there with a toothpick, and you let it sit overnight, and then it will work again. You don't need much. Gorilla Glue expands. You just want to make sure you get all the threads coated. And that's all you have to do. And then you let it sit overnight. You can screw that right back in, and it'll go in just nicely. So I will see you overnight. It is tomorrow. I have successfully fixed that spot right there, which was stripped out with the Gorilla Glue. I used a pin vise, which is a vise with a drill bit in it, and it's 1/16, and I drilled out the glue just a little bit, and then ran the screw in there, and it runs just fine. So now we're going to dry fit this in here to see what we need to do with the wiring, if anything. All right, there it is in place. These wires are quite short, but let's see what we've got here. This ESC is going to fit here, and I've got a print thing being made to print out here to hold the switch, so I'm going to put the switch right there. I need to replace these ends with the ends that match the batteries I have, because I have 3 batteries and different ends, so I'm going to pop that on there. And these are a little bit short, so I need to extend these wires to fit that. I was thinking about this off camera a little bit. I can either extend the wires of the ESC to fit into here, or I can extend the wires of the motor to fit to the ESC. And I'm thinking the best bet in this situation is extending the wire motors. And the reason I'm thinking that is because I would like them to fit through this little spot right here where the wires connect through, a little clip for the wires. So I want them to go through that to make it a nice clean install. So I need to extend those wires a little bit. These are 16 gauge wires. I don't have 16 gauge wire. I have 18 gauge. I'm not going to worry about it. It's going to be just fine. Leave comments in the bottom if you disagree. But we'll see what happens if it burns up. If I let the smoke out of this thing at the park, well then I'll know better next time. So we're going to extend these wires so that they're about that much. Get this out of here. This is silicone wire, so it's fantastic to strip, as you can see. I think this is silicone wire as well. So I'm going to cut those probably about right here. I'm going to do one at a time because I don't know which one is which. Even though it says ABC there. Does it say ABC on the speed control? No, it does not. It might in the instructions, but I'm not going to worry about it. And I'll need some heat shrink. And I think this will do the job just fine. Cut off about that much. A 2 per wire. I could put the heat shrink all the way across, cover up the blue wire to make it all black, but it'll be fine. Only the internet will know. I think I'm 1 short. 2. No, I got the right amount. Okay, cool. I get soldering iron out. Okay, I planned ahead. I want to smush that into there. There's many ways to splice wires together. This is the way that I am doing it. You can see I just smushed it in. Might as well smush this one in as well while I am waiting. Get this out of the way. Smushed. Smushed. Okay, I got them both smushed. I'm at 300. Here's my solder. Did I lose? No, I did not. I don't have a lighter, or I would do this with a lighter. Oh well. It happens. Alright, get the next one going. Alright, I'm going to zoom out some. Alright, important safety tip. Put your shrink tubing on before you put your last wire connector on. Just saying. Okay, wire is extended. Turn on soldering iron. Now these should fit, yes, in here very nicely. Look at that. Do another dry fit. Looking good. It's going to go here. Plenty of room. Fantastic. Okay, looking good. This in here, plenty of room. Plenty. I could have even made them a little bit shorter, but that's okay. You can pick up some of the slack here in the engine bay. All right, I'm liking that. Look at that. And I have my radio that goes over here. Yes. All right, now I got to fix that. I'll plug this in and you go beep, beep, beep. And I believe number 2 is throttle. And this goes to signal plus minus. So it goes this way into number 2. Signal plus minus. I got my radio here. Get it turned on. And we'll get its model changed from the Phoenix to Model 2. Exit, and we'll go down to name. Enter. Model 2, we want M8. Good. Exit that, 128. we have this on. I'll hold down the bind button. Turn this on. Look at that. Fantastic. We have it working with the MN128 battery, a new Radio Link radio, the Hobby Wing 16BL30, and the Hobby Wing 2435 motor. So now we just need to put it in the car and see what happens. We got our screws right here. Those are the size we want. Yes. And yes. Yes, I'm replacing my Phillips screws with hex head screws as I go. I'm using stainless steel screws so they don't rust. Nice. That was the side that was stripped. Gorilla Glue to the rescue. Nice. Alright, I'm going to use my favorite double stick tape for now, which is the Command Strip double stick tape, because it's easy to take apart if I make a mistake. And then after a while, I will replace this with the good stuff. Alright, so we want this here. Now this one I dry ran the survey wire before, and it's pretty close. So I am going to find the radio. Ah, there it is. And I'm going to get this plugged into it. So that goes like this. And I will plug it in like that. Nice. That. And this can just go over here. I'll get some Bondec to put right on there, and that'll make it nice. I have a 3D print. Yet another 3D print that is going to go right here, and that's going to hold this switch like that right here. So that'll be good, but I'm not going to worry about that yet. I'm going to run this underneath for now. Good. And so we've got that and that. That way I don't drive it off the workbench, because that would suck. And the radio turned on. It's still on MN128. We'll get you turned on. Why isn't it going? It's not going because I don't have these wires connected. Duh. So let's reconnect those, shall we? That's good. All right, here we go. Radio's on. And it's going backwards. So that will fix when we program the electronic speed control. Nice. So I got the radio bound, and I'm going to calibrate the speed control. So I'm going to make sure first I'm at 0 and my throttle goes 100% on both sides. So I want to make sure that's right. And we hold down the side button here and turn on the speed control. And it will beep and flash. And then we will press the button again. And we have set the throttle. Then we'll full throttle. Press the button again. We'll let go to reverse now. Press the button again. And now it's beeped and all that. And now it should work. And we are going forward now, so that's good. If you're going backwards, for some reason, if your car is going backwards, spinning backwards, you can just swap two of the wires. And that'll make it spin the other way. Or you can go into your radio and change it there as well. So now I've got that going for me. So now I can use the radio to adjust how fast it can go. Or I can use the programmer here and program it that way to see how fast it can go. I'm going to wait on this. I'm going to try it first out of the box and try to do it with the radio first. I don't want to get too excited about programming the speed control yet. So I've got the speed control working. I've got the radio working. I've got the motor working. I've got the bearings installed. I've got the battery working. So now we're ready to put the top back on it and see how it runs. Well, thank you for coming along on the journey of replacing the electronics and motor in the MN128. Was it successful? No, not really. Why? Because I bought a motor that was too fast. I bought a 4,000 something motor instead of a 1,000 something motor. So it was 4 times too fast. It was also way too much power, even though a 1,000 you would think would have more torque. Too much torque for the machine as well. I did break a drive shaft. I broke the front drive shaft here. Broke the little, whatever the U-joint is on that. I will have a video on how I fixed that. That'll be a quickie. Won't be long like this one, but I'll have that quickie video. I did replace the connector and went with a different battery system completely. I went with a regular 2S LiPo that fits inside of here instead of those two 18650s. So a little bit more C power there, more current. So yeah, that's what I've done. So what am I going to do now? Well, I don't care for the way it drives anymore. It drives too fast. It's like a race car. I don't want a race car, I want a rock crawler. So I need to replace the motor. I'm either going to put the old one back in, or I'm going to put in a Outrunner motor that I found that is a 1,000 something instead of 4,000. So we'll try that one. So maybe we'll try both. I have the speed control from the Vanquish that is a brush speed control. So I'll probably put that in and put the old motor back in and run with the big battery. We'll see how that does. We'll give it a try. I've also ordered some metal drive shafts to put in, so we'll put those in as well. So you'll see a video on how to put the drive shafts in, and then we'll have a video on how to revert the motor back to the brushed system. And we'll see how that runs. We'll take it out to Crawl Venture and give it a try out there again over the same type of obstacles. And maybe we'll take it out to the dirt. I don't know. We'll have to see how the weather is. It's quite cold, and I'm a wuss here in Las Vegas. Not as cold as Wisconsin, but cold enough for me that I don't want to go out. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope you found it entertaining. Let me know in the comments how you're liking this new series of RC crawlers, and what you would like to see more of. If you'd like to see more of how-tos, more of how it's driving, or something different, let me know.